What's up, Trojan family? Welcome to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud, bringing you all the latest recruiting updates for USC. And every day, there's recruiting updates with how this staff is going. Another commitment this morning, as of this recording, it is Monday morning, coming in. The USC Trojans land 3-star defensive lineman out of Prosper, Texas, Jake Johnson. So we'll get into that a little bit. I think this is another great commitment. I know it's a 3-star, so I know everyone's wanting 5 and 4s, but, I think this is a really good fit for USC, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, 2 more crystal balls for 2 big-time prospects for the Trojans, which would be adding more commitments if they do follow through. So we will talk about that as well. Hope everyone is doing great out there. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Spring break for a lot of you last week. Well, I guess us adults don't have spring break. I only know about spring break now because I have a kid in school. Otherwise, I haven't even recognized when spring break is since I was in college. But if you have kids, you know that spring break was last week for many. My daughter actually goes on spring break starting today. So we are going to be cutting out to Yosemite tomorrow. So we're going to be camping in the crisp, beautiful forest that is Yosemite. I've never been, so I'm super excited for that. So anyway, I wanted to get on the horn to get this up because I'll be gone for the next four days or so. Tim and Jamal will be back Wednesday night for our call-in show, so that is not changing at all. So make sure you hit the subscribe button here on the USC LAFB show so you get notified when that show goes live on Wednesday evening. And they want to take your calls, so bring your calls ready. Talk about this recruiting class, this new commit, and some potential ones coming down the pipeline. So thank you as always for the support. And let's just get into it. So breaking this morning, Jake Johnson, he had been predicted and given a crystal ball. I wrote about it, I want to say a week or so ago, so not a shock. We kind of felt this was coming, but certainly another good one in the sense that, just a good big body that I think can play above his 3-star ranking. 6'3", 290, as I mentioned, from Prosper, Texas. Had SMU hot on his trail, but also from the Big Ten, you had Wisconsin, you had North Carolina now with Bill Belichick there, who's really ramped up recruiting, going after him. So it's certainly a kid that was well known throughout the country and has a lot of potential to kind of play, could potentially play nose, would have to put on quite a bit of weight, sitting at 290 right now, but I think he could get up there and has the athleticism, probably more as 3 tech or just off kilt of the center. In terms of that, I don't know if he has the speed to go out much wider than that, but certainly that can change, obviously, going into his senior year. So I think there is some versatility there, which is the theme always with kind of USC recruiting, most especially with Coach Henderson and Coach New on the defensive line. They want to be able to move these guys all over the defensive line and kind of play in different looks and sets and formations, with the typical 3-3-5 formation that they will run. But you're going to have edge guys all over the place and linebackers dropping down and defensive linemen just shifting all different stunts and whatnot. So still waiting for Coach Henny to run a pirate successfully. We had him on the show. We had it was me, Coach Rowe, and Coach Henny, and Coach Rowe asked about pirate. If they would successfully make that happen this year. I think they have the horses this year to get that done. For those of you who don't know, look it up. It's a great kind of stunt play that it's really, cool when it works out. So hard to pull off, though. So we'll see if they can get that this year. But anyway, so I think Jake Johnson's a solid commitment. This brings the class up to 21 total commits for their number 1 recruiting class. That's 4 in the last, 6 days. You had Tamohini Tapui commit last week after committing from Oregon. Wide receiver Cohen Brown, the speedster out of Texas, committing towards the end of the week. And then just on Saturday, number 1 running back in California, Deshaun Rideau, commits. I talked about him a bunch on Saturday, jumped on here. And now Jake Johnson, the 4th in 5 or 6 days to just continue this recruiting heater that Lincoln Riley, Chad Bowden, and the entire USC staff is on. Just really, really impressive. And I think they're building the right guys in here. So, again, Johnson, I think that versatility brings a lot. He's the 61st ranked defensive lineman in the class, which is still, that's still high praise. He's not the number 3 or the number 10 or, the same ranking that like a Jamian Winfield was number 8th defensive lineman out of Texas in this class. So ranking lower than that, but still coming from the state of Texas that produces a lot of great, trench players. Is a good get. Gabe Brooks at 247. He's one of the sports scouting analysts there. I keep saying 247, 24/7. He described him as a one-speed bull rusher who can collapse the pocket, still developing rush nuance, but flashes impressive point of attack strength and consistently revved motor. Again, so I said, not an edge. This is a defensive lineman based on size, but can kind of play similar role to what we saw Devin Tompkins, who is lighter, little taller, but kind of played that 3, sometimes even out to 5 tech on the outside, but wasn't like the true edge like Cam Fountain or Anthony Lucas or last year with Jamil Mohammed. So would be more interior that, but we'll see what Henny and they do. But based on just his weight, it'd be interesting to see if I wouldn't see him as like a nose or a 0 tech, but we'll see. Things change quickly, and there's a lot of info out there with recruiting that I just don't know. That some people might. I mean, a lot of you, I think, what I love about doing this show is that, I'm here to kind of provide updates, but I would never call myself an expert right now. I have some sources that I've built up through the years and some trust with some people, and I try to really get a good understanding before jumping on here. But there's definitely things that, there's so many high school prospects, especially I'm not traveling to all the high schools talking to their coaches. So we don't know exactly all the roles, and some of you actually know more than me sometimes. Some of you might have heard of things. So I love that, you guys always drop comments and let me know, and I always do it respectfully. So I appreciate that. But yeah, so we'll wrap that up. Jake Johnson, another big get, 21 commits now in this 26 class. And this machine is just rolling, not done yet. So as I mentioned now, 2 more crystal balls, whatever you want to call them, predictions have come through for the Trojans. One, not both in the trenches, but one on the offensive line and one on the defense. I'll start with the offensive line. I want to say this came in yesterday, crystal ball, or maybe Saturday evening. But it's been rumored for a while because USC has started to build a really good relationship with Folsom High School up in Folsom, California. Obviously, Walker Lyons on the team. They got the tight end kid in the 25 class from there last year, or he was edge, and they're moving him to tight end. And then obviously all the rumors with Ryder Lyons and whatnot. And now it's been rumored now for a while that Vlad Diakonov, if I'm saying that last name correctly, offensive tackle, has been rumored with SC for quite some time. Now picks up a crystal ball from both On3 and 24/7 Sports. Always want to say 24/7. And the college football recruiting contact for Folsom High School, Scott Robinson, teased, not necessarily mentioning Diakonov, but with the assumption, or with the crystal balls coming when they did the predictions coming, he tweeted out at USC football, about to get a dog from the Dogs. Stay tuned. Folsom is Bulldogs is their mascot. So a lot of people were like, oh, is this Ryder Lyons? But I think because of the timing, it's Vlad Diakonov. But great. I mean, they need another offensive line. I think Coach Hansen is doing a great job with the recruiting thus far. It's going to ramp up even more. Obviously, they're going after some bigger name, or bigger stars, I should say, out there in the Cody Greens of the world, trying to flip him, and they're building a lot of rapport in that regard. But here's a kid, another big body, 6'7", 275, is going to be well over 300 by the time he gets to SC, or at least before the fall season starts. Again, if he commits. So standing at 6'7", he'll be well over 300. So another big body that's just going after that Big Ten style of offensive line play. He's the 35th ranked offensive tackle on 24/7 composite, and he's also the 35th ranked player in the state of California. So he'd be the 4th offensive lineman in this class if he does commit, joining Tafa, Fafita, and Denise. And yeah, I think that'd be another really solid one if they able to get that done. That would be, like I said, 4 offensive linemen. We'll see with them pushing a 30 to 35 person class. And we've already seen how much they've dedicated to the defensive line. I would think the offensive line would similarly match that in terms of numbers and volume. So I would not be shocked at all if we see, 6, 7, 8 offensive line commits before this is all said and done. We have a long way to go. But if this would be the 4th, I know in in months past, years past, we've always talked about they kind of get to that 5 number when Josh Henson was here. They always kind of had 5 offensive linemen in each recruiting class. I think they'll blow past that, and we'll see 6, 7, 8, 9, like something like that, just as they kind of really rebuild, not necessarily rebuild, but set the foundation for the offensive line going forward. So they don't have to utilize the transfer portal as much as they have in the most prior years. So we'll keep you posted whenever an announcement is made, if it is coming soon. But that would be another really solid one if USC is able to pull that off. And Coach Hansen's just done a phenomenal job since taking over the offensive line. Last one I want to talk about, and this should also get, I think, fans really fired up and excited. Another crystal ball from 24/7 Sports. He was on campus, I believe, just very, very recently. Last week, I want to say. Plays at Mater Dei, and that's Sean Scott, who I'm referring to. Picked up a crystal ball to commit to USC. Highly touted edge player out of Mater Dei. However, just want to make the stipulation, USC is recruiting him as an inside linebacker. And so while the beginning of his recruitment, I think, all the defensive coaches are involved. But while the beginning, I think, was probably more so Coach Nua and Coach Henney, Rob Ryan has kind of taken the mantle on his recruitment. And the idea is him to be kind of a stack linebacker that plays, in that Sam or Mike or Will position in first and second down situations. And in third and long, they can crash him down and use that edge talent that he's displayed at Mater Dei to rush the passer on kind of third and passing situations. So again, versatility. That is the theme of this USC recruiting. And Dan Lenz talked about it extensively in regards just to the defense, is he wants versatile players that can play all over. And he's obviously going to do great about putting guys in the right position to succeed. So, you're not always going to, you can't force someone to do different things just based on the scheme. But if you're strategically going after players that can do all that, then you can do that, right? You're not like forcing a square peg into a round hole, like, hey, we want you to be able to rush on this play, and this guy can't rush, but they're forcing him to. Well, hey, if you're recruiting a kid that is an all-state pass rusher, but can also run side of the sideline and cover and has the body type to be a true inside linebacker, then you can do that, and then you can utilize him as like a chess piece all over. So Sean Alston, I think, would be a great. So the rankings, I don't want people to get caught up too much in this because he's ranked as an edge player, 26th ranked edge in the country per 24/7 Sports Composite. But again, as SC is recruiting him as an inside backer, where would you rank him within the backers? That's a whole nother long conversation. All the big players at B are in his recruiting: Texas, Ohio State, Penn State, Oklahoma, all the big guys going after him. So keeping Sean Scott home, as is the trend, would be obviously a big get. And another Mater Dei kid, you add him to Tapui, and then as they're in pursuit for offensive tackle Cody Green. I'm not saying these kids all make their decision based on where their high school teammates go, but it's nice when there's some familiarity there of like, hey, we were the number one high school program in the world, in the country. Like, why would I not go play with these guys at college and try to replicate what we did in high school? Wire to wire, number one, and let's go down the street to USC and do the same thing there. So, it's not the end-all be-all by any means. These kids are making their decisions for themselves, best interest for themselves. But if you play with a kid in high school, you have relationships, then that's another box to check, right? So, and we know how important it is for SC to rebuild that pipeline with Mater Dei, with Bosco, with Santa Margarita, with Orange Lutheran, with Long Beach Poly, with, Centennial, all these SoCal schools. And so the more you can get from them, the better for not just the now, but for the future. So, yeah, Sean Scott would be a big one. We'll keep you posted. He would be, if he does commit, and if it is as linebacker as I'm talking about, he would join Xavier Griffin, who is the Trojans' number 1 ranked commit, the number 1 linebacker in the country. What's interesting with Griffin is listed as a linebacker, but he can also rush the passer extremely well. I mean, put on his tape, his high school tape, and he can get after the quarterback. Like an elite pass rusher, and has the size to do both. So you potentially are getting two guys that are elite at almost everything on the defensive side of the football in terms of rushing and being that true middle linebacker that can stop the run, that can cover, that has athletic ability and speed. So you pair those two together, it just gives you, as a defensive coordinator, I mean, the options are endless. You don't have to have special personnel packages for special plays, because if you have guys that can do it all, you don't got to come off the field. And the trouble with having particular personnel packages, especially later in the season, when there's more tape out there for teams to prepare, is it's tipping your hand sometimes. Like, offensive coaches and vice versa, it goes the other way too. They'll recognize, like, oh, when this grouping is out, this is what they're running, or this is what stunt may be coming. Whereas if you have a Griffin and a Scott that literally can do it all, you would never tip your hand, because if they're not off the field, you're like, well, are they rushing? Are they dropping back in coverage? Are they just kind of staying pat at that 5-yard grace line? So it gives you so much. And then you talk about the fact that Talanoa Ely is another backer they're going after. He's got great athleticism. He's got tremendous versatility. It shows how much excitement there should be about what the USC Trojans want to do with linebacker. And, it brings you back to those glory days of Pete Carroll with just the elite linebacker play that really, you think about when they had Brian Cushing, Ray Maluga, and Clay Matthews, what they were able to do with all three of those guys on the field. And then even before that, you had Trey Polamalu, who was a safety but could drop down in the box, and what they can do with guys like Anthony Beavers and different safeties that can do that. So versatility is the name of the game, guys, and that's what USC is recruiting. They're recruiting athletes that are cerebral and smart on the football field, that can really be kind of shaped and formed into multiple different football personalities, if you will, if that makes sense. So another great one, Sean Scott. We'll see what happens. I don't think he's picked up yet a prediction from On3, that were rivals. That was just 24/7 Sports. I have heard from someone that it's looking good, but we shall see as this goes on. So most likely something will happen while I'm gone in Yosemite with no service. So I may not be able to get on the horn here till Friday evening if any of these do come in. But you guys probably don't know them unless you watch our Rams show. We do have a great Rams LAFB show, Rams LAFB YouTube channel for any Trojans fans that are Rams fans. My co-host and our executive editor at LAFB, Ryan Anderson, he'll have all the written portion covered. So if anything does break, he'll get you covered at LAFBnetwork.com, so you can at least get all the info there. But yeah, I won't be on the mic again until at least Friday evening, maybe Saturday if any of these break. Just a heads up. That would be why, because I am out in the middle of Yosemite enjoying some family time. So, but yeah, I'll wrap that up. So it's a fun time, Trojan fam. It's a fun time for me to be covering this team. It should be seen as a fun time for you being a fan of this team. I can't wait for this season to begin so we can see more of this unfold, and this 25 class and this 24 class and this 23 class that have been putting in the work and are committed to being Trojans actually play. Because I know obviously most of these videos are based on the 26 in the future. So it'll be great to see this in action with some of these young kids that have believed in this program and the direction of where this program is headed. And they're going to be the ones responsible for laying the framework that allows that direction to be accomplished or actually sought after. So cannot wait. Fired up. Thank you guys. As always, if you have not already, please hit that like and subscribe button. USC LAFB is the YouTube channel. Helps us out a ton. LAFB Network is all of our socials. You can find me at Ryan Dyrud LAFB on X, or as always, LAFBnetwork.com. We are Los Angeles Sports, got covered for all LA sports. So everyone be well. Have a great week. I will talk to you when I get back from camping. Hopefully have some fun stories to share, but hopefully can also talk about some great USC commits while I was out. So thank you all. And as always, fight on.